Welcome to the Blue Collar Worker. My name's Dennis, and if you hadn't guessed it by now, yes, I am a blue collar worker. Yeah, you know, the garb might actually give away a little bit about that, because I'm sitting at work at the moment. No, I'm not working, it's before I start, so bosses don't need to say anything. Now, this is a brand new channel, so hopefully this will be running 2 or 3 times a week. That's the theory anyway. We'll see how that survives reality. And obviously this only works if people actually watch the videos through. You know, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. But more importantly than all of that, if people actually connect with what's being said here. What happened there? That wouldn't be anything regarding British values, would it? Anyway, first things first, let's get everything sorted out straight away. I'm a reform member and was a candidate. I didn't win, but honestly, when one door shuts, another opens, and well, here we are now. This channel isn't really about party politics. In fact, it's not about party politics all day long. It's about values, our morals, shared values. Because I don't really care what party someone follows, or even if they follow one, if underneath it all, we are basically singing from the same hymn sheet. Just happened again. I'm going to have a word with my editor. Hang on, I think I am my editor. Never mind. Anyway, back where was I? Yes. So here we are. We are talking about singing from the same hymn sheet. Because at the end of it all, there's a lot of us, and we are singing from the same hymn sheet. But what's happening is we are fighting over the twigs and leaves of every given problem, constantly, arguing over all the surface level stuff and basically getting out of our tree about it. Hardly anybody's talking about the trunk and the branches holding the whole thing together, holding us together, holding us together. And that's what I want this channel to be about, the trunk and the branches. Because there's many things we can talk about. I mean, yeah, we can talk about current affairs, and God knows there's enough going on at the moment. And not a lot of it any good. Henry Novak. God rest his soul. Now, there's also pressures on modern life. I believe on Unite the Kingdom March there was a term being given to a certain person called Keir Starmer. What was it? Keir Starmer's a... Well, don't forget the reason we're going through that, but one of the reasons is that picture is stating in a way that we are concerned about the Great Replacement Theory. And there are many people that go, oh, there's no such thing. And there are people that are going, are you telling me to ignore my lying eyes? I mean, that's making comments about current affairs. Obviously, if you notice, there's a little bit of a change in the way I look now, because now I'm at home. So there's no boss. I've got to make sure that I'm not working at the same time so he gets annoyed. Anyway, moving on. So, pressure on modern life. That's another thing we have got to concern ourselves with. There is not the way, let me put it another way, there is ways that we used to do things better than the way we do now. Because the way that modern life is now has created a situation where there is practical wisdom we've lost. Ways ordinary people kept communities stable before everything became noise and outrage 24 hours a day. Well, I think that gives you an idea of what this is going to be all about. And I'm looking for lots of comments, so I want you to like and subscribe and all that jazz. Please don't forget that, because I need that for us to get started. And I say us because I'm going to be looking at you guys. I'm going to be providing a way for you to make comments on video to me, and I might start putting a few of these on. No, in fact, I'm going to be putting a few of these on. So you're going to be listening to each other. I'm just the manner in which you're being able to do it. So when it comes to those that don't like us sharing these kind of values and morals with each other, I guess that's going to make me part of the problem. That's all right. I'm good with that. I'm proud to be a problem. So welcome to the end of this first segment of the first episode of The Blue Collar Worker. And as I said, please like and subscribe and get ready for the next part. So now let's pick up the pace, shall we? I said that first segment slower because I wanted you to have time to digest me and what it is that I'm trying to talk about. Because in later episodes, you're going to hear my voice less and less and less. Now, if that is not an incentive to send stuff in for me to play instead of me, I don't know what is. So, one of the things I was going to talk about personally, how I feel, is when I look back to how I was brought up, the morals and values that were instilled in me when I was a child, and when I look at the way things are now, I would basically say I was raised for one world and now I'm living in another. And I think a lot of people are feeling this now, even if they struggle putting it into words properly. I mean, most of us were raised with a certain understanding of adulthood. You know, normal things: work hard, be dependable, turn up on time, be useful, learn a trade, start a family, buy a home if you can, and build stability slowly. That was the framework. Now, whether all of that was perfect or not is another conversation entirely. But the point is, people were raised for one kind of world and then walked into another one completely different. A lot of people feel like the rules have changed halfway through the game. And I don't think most ordinary people are angry because they hate progress. I think they're frustrated because stability itself now feels harder to reach no matter how hard people work. And that creates pressure, constant low-level pressure. And eventually societies start feeling strained all the time. I mean, this segment of the blue collar worker is what I would consider as talking about where ordinary values are becoming controversial. Because another thing people quietly notice now is that certain values that used to be considered normal are suddenly treated like suspicious ideas, like common sense. Let's tick a box. Let's forget common sense. Let's just tick a box. Masculinity, is it toxic? If somebody is a complete arsewipe, of course, it's toxic. But don't stop a man being a man, because suddenly, when these things are treated like suspicious ideas, suddenly we'll forget that it was important. We were brought up being disciplined, being dependable, wanting strong families, wanting stable communities, wanting personal responsibility. None of these things used to be controversial. Now, everything gets pushed immediately into tribes and labels and outrage. And look, I'm not saying society should go backwards. That's not the point. I'm saying that there are certain values, virtues that held ordinary life together for a very long time. And maybe we threw some of them away too quickly. Sometimes now, just speaking calmly about responsibility or structure or stability, it gets treated like rebellion, which honestly says a lot about where we are culturally, doesn't it? Current affairs and the pressure that comes with it. That's the segment I think this is going to get the most response from you. Because one thing I keep seeing in current affairs is that everybody argues over symptoms while the deeper structural pressure underneath keeps building. That's transport, housing, healthcare, policing, cost of living, infrastructure. Everything feels stretched thinner now. And because symptoms are all running so close to their limits, small problems suddenly spread everywhere. One delay becomes 3, one staffing shortage becomes 10, and one failure spreads downstream. And people feel this even if they don't describe it technically, like me. That feeling of permanent strain, it changes society psychologically. People become shorter with each other, less trusting, more reactive, less patient. You can actually feel the pressure in ordinary life now. I don't know about you. I'm not exactly happy about that. Trunken branches. Trunken branches. This is why I keep coming back to this trunk and branches idea. Because most ordinary people actually agree on more than they realise. I mean, what do people want? They want safety, fairness, opportunity, community, some stability, God forbid a little dignity. And the main thing regarding families, a future for their kids, that's the trunk. But modern discussion constantly traps people arguing over leaves while the actual structure underneath weakens. And when the structure weakens long enough, people stop trusting the whole thing altogether. That's the danger, not disagreement itself. It's a loss of shared structure. Because one thing that they don't want from us is to stop arguing with each other. Because they know what will happen next. We'll actually stand together as one. Now we come to two of my favourite virtues. Best word I can think of. Best words. Old wisdom and practical resilience. Now, what I mean by that is the one thing older generations understood better was resilience. That's why people used to say things like, always learn a trade to fall back on. There was wisdom in that. Not because everybody had to become a bricklayer or a mechanic or a welder, but because practical competence creates resilience. You can feel it in people who know how to build things, repair things, solve problems, work under pressure. There's confidence in practical usefulness. Modern life has become very abstract in a lot of ways. But when systems start wobbling, practical people suddenly become very important once again. now comes to one of the most important things that we must always remember, and that is calm voices matter. That's why I wear the t-shirt about We Are Charlie. Charlie Kirk, God rest his soul. It's because everything online now feels permanently charged up. Everything's rage, everything's tribal, everything's instant reaction. And honestly, I think people are exhausted by it. Sometimes a calmer conversation actually lands harder because people can tell you've thought about it rather than just reacting emotionally in the moment. That's more the lane I want here. Not screaming, not pretending everything's fine either. Just trying to think honestly about what's happening around us. We have to keep talking to each other. We have to keep pushing our shared values towards each other because we're singing from the same hymn sheet. So now you're going to be glad of this very last segment. I will stop talking. But the point is, you know what this channel is now. Yes, current affairs. I will talk about whatever's going on outside. And I want to hear what you have to say. Pressures on modern life. Thoughts from the past. Practical wisdom. Structural problems. Shared values. Morals. And hopefully conversations that can actually get beneath the surface level noise, because maybe what holds societies together isn't endless rage or division. Maybe it's remembering the things that used to bind ordinary people together in the first place. And if that makes me a problem, fair enough. I'm proud to be a problem.